The night of the Forrester Gala was supposed to be nothing more than another glittering chapter in Los Angeles high society, a party where old grudges were smoothed over with champagne and scandal was kept behind closed doors. But when Luna appeared in disguise, masked and cloaked, her plan, whatever its original intention, spun wildly out of control. What began as an act of desperation quickly turned into a disaster with consequences that rippled across every family name tied to the Forrester and Spencer empires. The disguise had been meticulous. Luna blended into the crowd under the cover of sequins and silk, moving between conversations with a practiced ease that fooled even those who had known her for years. But it only took one slip, one misplaced glance, one overheard whisper, and the room began to buzz. By the end of the night, the whispers had hardened into suspicion, and suspicion into revelation. When the mask was lifted, chaos erupted. The fallout was immediate. Questions were hurled like daggers. What was she hiding? Why was she there? What had she done? The party that was meant to showcase Forrester elegance collapsed into a circus of speculation. And when the truth began to surface about Luna's actions, no one could escape the damage. Lee Finnegan and Sheila Carter found themselves in an uneasy and unnatural position, both orbiting around Luna, both claiming to protect her, and both violently opposed on what that protection meant. Lee, stern and uncompromising, demanded accountability. "She needs to come forward," Lee insisted. "The longer she hides, the worse it becomes. Every day she stays silent is another day she condemns herself and the family." Sheila, ever the manipulator, snarled at the suggestion. "Confession is suicide. You hand her to the police and she's finished. Do you think they'll show mercy? Do you think the Spencers will? No, Lee. If you want her destroyed, by all means push her into the courtroom. But if you actually care about her survival, you keep quiet. You bury this. That's the only way." Their argument escalated into a brutal clash of wills. Neither trusted the other, both carried their own sins, but now they were tied to the same girl. Luna became the battlefield on which their hatred played out, each insisting they knew what was best. But outside that private war, someone else had already begun piecing the night together. Electra had watched closely, listened to rumors, retraced conversations. She wasn't content with gossip. She dug deeper, following the trail of contradictions and inconsistencies until the picture became clear. When she finally confronted Luna, it was not the scorned lover speaking, it was the voice of someone demanding justice. "You think this is about me?" Electra snapped, cornering Luna in the dim light of Spencer Tower's lobby. "You think I care about your games with Will, about your pregnancy, about the lies you spin? No. This isn't about jealousy anymore. This is about what you did that night. People got hurt. People deserve the truth. And you're standing in the way of it." Luna's face drained of color. "You don't understand, no," Electra cut her off, her fury sharp and clear. "I do understand. I understand that you put yourself above everyone else. That you used disguise, deceit, manipulation to cover what happened. And now the families are at war, the city's talking, and victims are left without closure. You want to keep hiding? Fine. But I won't let you bury this. I'll fight you. I'll fight Bill. I'll fight every damn lawyer they send after me if I have to. Because this isn't just scandal, it's crime." The confrontation drew out the fractures Luna had been trying to ignore. On one side, Sheila whispered for her to dig deeper into denial, to fight, to bury, to survive by any means necessary. On the other, Lee's cold logic demanded she face the inevitable, that she confess before the truth dragged her down anyway. And now Electra had entered the arena, no longer driven by rage over betrayal, but by a righteous fire to see wrong set right. Backed into the corner, Luna felt the walls closing in. Every option carried ruin. If she denied everything, Electra would march into the press with her evidence and her fury, forcing the scandal into headlines she couldn't control. If she confessed, she risked prison, custody battles, the permanent loss of her child and any standing in either family. The Spencers would cut her out. The Forresters would never forgive her. The world would paint her as a manipulator and a criminal. The pressure mounted until her voice cracked. If I tell the truth, I lose everything. If I lie, I lose myself. What am I supposed to do? Electra's response was steel. You do what the victims of that night never got. You stop thinking about yourself and you tell the truth. Because if you don't, I will. The ultimatum hung heavy in the air, and for the first time Luna saw no path that didn't end in destruction. The disguise she had worn to the gala had long since been stripped away, but now, with Lee demanding justice, Sheila demanding silence, and Electra demanding the truth, she realized that masks weren't just for parties. She had been wearing one every day, hiding behind excuses and half-truths. And now she had to decide whether to rip it off completely or keep suffocating beneath it until it killed her. The cliffhanger was brutal and simple. At Spencer Manor, Bill Spencer, already preparing for the legal storm, signed off on a motion his attorneys had crafted. A preservation order. It demanded all evidence tied to Luna's case, every medical sample, every lab report, every surveillance reel, be placed under court protection to ensure nothing disappeared. The order was filed with the hospital that night. For Luna, there was no escape left. The truth she had tried to outrun was coming for her in court, in family, and in blood. And as the families braced for impact, Los Angeles knew one thing: this wasn't just a scandal anymore. It was war, and the battlefield was Luna herself. Bill's preservation order hit the hospital like a bomb. By dawn, administrators were scrambling, doctors whispering, files being pulled from storage and sealed under lock and key. Every nurse, every lab tech, every intern who had ever touched Luna's case was suddenly under investigation. The Spencers weren't just protecting evidence, they were locking down the narrative. No leaks, no rumors, no missing vials. For Bill Spencer, control was everything, and this move was checkmate in the first round of what he knew would become an ugly, public war. Luna, however, felt the iron bars closing tighter around her life. Guards at the mansion monitored her movements like she was a criminal awaiting trial. Lawyers called her phone hourly, pressing for statements, timelines, cooperation. Lee appeared one evening with a stack of legal documents, her voice devoid of warmth. This is your chance to get ahead of it. If you sign now, admit what you did, I can negotiate leniency. Time served, probation, maybe even partial custody if the court sees you cooperating. Before Luna could answer, Sheila stormed into the room, tearing the papers from Lee's hand. Are you insane? You want her to sign away her life? To admit guilt before a trial? That's suicide, Lee, and you know it. Bill doesn't want leniency. He wants her destroyed. He wants that baby and nothing else. The two women clashed again, their shouting rattling through the Spencer mansion. Lee insisted the truth was the only path to freedom. Sheila hissed that silence was survival. And in the middle, Luna sat trembling, clutching her stomach, knowing that whichever path she chose, someone would end up in ruins. Electra, meanwhile, had shifted into full crusader mode. No longer the bitter ex, she had reinvented herself overnight as the face of justice in Los Angeles. She went to the media, standing on courthouse steps, cameras flashing. This isn't about jealousy. This isn't about my personal life. This is about the victims of that night, the people who were silenced while Luna played dress-up games to cover her tracks. I demand transparency. I demand accountability. And I won't stop until the truth is heard. Her words lit a fire under the city. Reporters camped outside Spencer Mansion. Hashtags exploded across social media. Influencers, activists, even politicians weighed in. Was Luna a manipulator hiding behind powerful men? Or a young woman crushed under the weight of two dynasties tearing her apart? Public opinion fractured in half, every headline fueling the storm. Inside the mansion, Will Spencer cracked under the pressure. He confronted his father late one night, voice breaking. You don't care about me. You don't care about her. All you care about is control. This is my child, Dad. Mine. And you're acting like I don't exist. Bill's reply was ice. You exist because of me. And that baby will thrive because of me. You've proven you can't protect anyone, not even yourself. So step aside, son. I'm doing what you can't. The words gutted Will, who left the room shaking with rage and shame. He didn't know who to trust anymore, his father, who wanted his child, but not the mother, or Luna, who had built a fortress of lies around herself. For the first time, Will considered what it would mean to break away from both of them and fight on his own terms. The climax came during a tense pre-hearing at the courthouse. Luna was escorted in, flanked by Spencer security, her face pale under the harsh lights. Across the aisle sat Electra, sharp in a tailored suit, her lawyers lined up like soldiers. Lee took her seat behind the prosecution, arms folded. Sheila slid into the back row, smirking, as if watching a play she already knew the ending to. The judge began to outline the charges and motions, but before he could finish, a clerk rushed into the room with a sealed envelope. Your Honor, urgent filing from Spencer Legal. The judge opened it, eyes narrowing as he scanned the pages. Then he looked up, his voice cutting through the chamber. Effective immediately, this court is placing Luna Carter under house arrest pending trial. All medical evidence shall remain sealed under federal protection. And until further notice, custody of the unborn child is provisionally assigned to William Spencer under the guardianship of Bill Spencer. The room erupted. Luna gasped. Will's head snapped toward his father, betrayal etched into every line of his face. Electra stood, shouting at the judge about bias and corruption. Lee nodded grimly, as if she had expected this all along. Sheila's smirk widened into a grin. But the true shock came after court adjourned. In the hallway, Luna was being led away when a reporter shouted, "Luna, do you have anything to say?" She stopped, turned, and with tears streaming down her face, whispered into the microphones, "I wasn't the only one in disguise that night. Someone else was there. Someone powerful. And if I go down, they're coming with me." The crowd froze. Cameras flashed. Reporters screamed. And in the shadows of the hallway, a figure wearing a Forrester ring clenched their fist. The war had just escalated from scandal to survival, and in the weeks ahead, the families of Spencer, Forrester, Logan, and Finnegan would all find themselves dragged into a battle that would consume Los Angeles. The choice was no longer Luna's alone. It was everyone's. And the city braced for the truth.